July 2024 is a month that requires a balancing of opposites. It requires an open heart, and it'll really is going to allow us to find out what matters the most and how we can start to grow it in a really powerful way. I'm your astrologer, Christian Klausner. Thank you for being here. I'm not alone. We do have my co-host Aubrey here, tarot expert. Um, and we're going to break down the month of July for you like we do. Um, Here, I'll ask you to unmute just in case it's not letting you unmute.
Yeah, I was like frozen in mute prison.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Christian?
I'm amazing. I love this time of year. We're working up to my birthday season, which is in Leo. So I'm super excited. I'm feeling very good, very warm. Um,
Feeling really good too. And my background's kind of bare because I am moving into a new home right now, very Cancer-esque, getting my home and my nest prepared. So I think I've been here 3 days. So I'm excited to be recording this month's episode in a new home, a new nest.
Perfect. That's very fitting, isn't that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna break it down for you like we do. I'm gonna give you a little presentation on Cancer so you can understand this fourth sign. We've done all the signs up to now since Aries, so this is exciting. Hopefully, we make it through all 12. We'll see. It's been some crazy, chaotic, accident-prone energy. I almost died yesterday. I'm very happy to be alive. So, so I got to tell this story. I'm at the intersection, right? I'm about to turn left and this big old truck comes up next to me. There's two lanes for turning left. And this big truck is blocking my view. He's to my left. I see the light turn green. It's got that green left arrow, right? So he got there after me, but then he starts leaving before me. And I always pay attention to that because I like to race. I don't usually race, but I like to race. I always keep track of who's going faster. So he pulls ahead of me, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's see if I can catch up. Then I notice he slams on his brakes. And I'm so glad I noticed that because I saw it was green. So I'm like, okay, he braked for a reason. So then I brake right up next to him. And then boom goes this big truck with a trailer going 50 miles an hour, completely ran the red light. Um, and it was a few inches from my car. It would, if I kept going, it would have smashed into me and I wouldn't be here today. So I'm very, very happy to be alive here with you guys. It's amazing how everything can change in a flash. And so, um, yeah, here we are. And something similar happened to you, didn't it, Aubrey?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad you're okay. It's so scary to think about that stuff. And when you text me that earlier that had happened, and it kind of blew my mind because the exact same scenario happened to me on Monday.
Mm,
I pulled up to a four-way stop where the cross traffic flows pretty quickly. It can be anywhere between 35 to 55 miles an hour that people are driving. And I came to the stop. I stopped first. Luckily, another car stopped, another car stopped. So I was due to go. And right as I went to kind of pull out, I just thought to look to my left again. And a car was flying at maybe 55 or 60 miles an hour. And had I just let off the gas, I would have been just smoked from the side. But I looked up and the person driving had no clue they ran a stop sign. You can tell their passenger didn't know. They were just chatting and they flew through. And the three of us that were stopped all kind of glanced at one another, freaked out, and moved through. But I thought, oh man, like same scenario. Like, had I not just taken that second to look, and I thought that's so weird that that happened to both of us within
yeah,
a day or two of each other. I thought it's within one day of each other. It's very odd.
that is very odd. Yeah.
I can't remember the last time that happened, and it's such a high rate of speed, and the person did not hit the brakes at all. Like there was no brakes being hit. They didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing
Mhm.
how just one little sense of I think I'm going to turn my head or I think I'm going to pay attention this way can totally save your life. So
And I felt
thank
so grateful, like that two other people happened to approach at the same time because had they not approached and stopped, I would have braked and just kept going. But having that moment to glance up and wait for them to stop, and the timing was perfect. So,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you to our guides.
Yeah. Well,
All right. Let me share my screen here. We're going to hop right into it. We are now the sun is in the fourth sign. Do 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 do. Um all right. looks like I have to unpin you, and then I have to do this, and it's still not showing me. Strange.
I'm seeing your screen. I'm seeing it in the Canva window.
Okay, let me do this. Okay, so this is a little thing I just threw together for you. We're gonna talk about Cancer, and then we'll talk about the tarot cards that really resonate with Cancer. And then we'll get into a detailed rundown of all the main transits in July and what I see are the best days for certain things. There's a lot of really good days here this month for progressing things forward in your business, but also shifting dynamics in your core relationships. So very excited to get into that. And Cancer rules the moon. Cancer is all about the moon. It's about reflecting. It's a very dreamy sign. And Cancer people tend to spend a little bit too much time in their imagination because they're of the soulful, reflective realm. So the more Cancers can get into their body and stay present and learn to be comfortable in their skin, the more their intuitive gifts will really come through in the life. They're very, very sensitive. It can be very nervous energy. And this is a water sign. So when it comes to these four types, we're dealing with the water, which is the feeling function of the ego. And these people, water signs, interpret things at a value level. So they evaluate by feelings of pleasant or unpleasantness. Um, and okay, cool. And so they're emotional. This is all about the emotions, and the emotions are connected to the soul. That's why we have like soul music. It's very moving music. It moves you emotionally. The soul retains memory. It's like retaining water, and on the water is reflected an image, and the memory is connected to the soul and to these water signs. So water signs tend to have a really good memory. Even the etymology of the word memory, I think mem means water, or it's connected to water in some way, like the waters of Mem. Um, and then Ori is a word meaning light. So the light on the water, or it has to do with memory. Water signs tend to not forget. In fact, water itself has memory. This has been discovered. Water remembers the structure, the shape of the pipes that it ran through and the different paths that it took. Water remembers different chemical constituents that have been fused into the water. Water is all about remembering. And when you remember something, it's because you felt something. So the movies that you really remember are the movies that moved you, right? The song lyrics that get stuck in your head tend to be connected to some sort of feeling or emotion. So this is really interesting when we explore the water signs. Where we're at in the yearly cycle, you can see through this picture here. So we have just crossed, the sun has just crossed, I should say, into the Tropic of Cancer, which is up here. And as soon as it goes into Cancer, hang on, I gotta find my cursor again. Here it is. And as soon as it crosses this point of Cancer, now the sun is beginning to decline southward once again. So the summer solstice is the longest day and the shortest night for those of us here in the northern hemisphere. And now the sun is beginning its decline, and it's reaching its full maturity here in Leo, this middle sign of the summer. And then in Virgo, it starts to get a little more crispy, and we're getting ready to transition into fall when the sun literally falls beneath this celestial equator here, the equator. And then it dips down here into the winter signs, the underworld. Okay, so this is where we're at in the yearly cycle. The sun, it's like a roller coaster, right? It's climbing up here in the spring, and then here it starts to go down. Whee! So this is where we ride this joy ride of this roller coaster in Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. It's where the sun really likes to be. But the sun is not at home in Cancer, the moon is. So this is it's still an adjustment period, right? When the sun is in Cancer, we're finding what makes us comfortable, what makes us uncomfortable. And here in this wheel, you can see this is water. It's a cardinal sign. We'll talk about that. And Cancer is the empath. It's about nurturing and security. And in our manifestation classes, we recently talked about overcare and how, on our spiritual path, we we grow in compassion and in our awareness of the suffering in the world. And then we start to stagnate as soon as we care too much, because now we start to leak energy and lose energy because overcare tends to feel like we're caring the most. But it's actually not so good for us. So, for us to continue on our spiritual development requires that we have compassion and care and empathy, but in a detached way, where we will the highest good for all beings, but we're detached about it because sometimes the suffering that other people go through is their own growth opportunity for them to learn to find the light, the power, the strength within themselves. And we can't do it for other people. So a level of detachment is the only way that you can maintain your own full energy, where you can stay in your highest vibration so you can truly be of service to other people, if that is what you truly desire. So here in the zodiac is the full body. It's called the cosmic man or the cosmic woman. Every sign rules a different body part, and that's how we understand the sign. That's why Aries is headstrong, because they rule the head and they identify who they are. We identify each other by our face. Taurus rules the throat and the voice, the thing that we express our values, what we value. Taurus is about I have, it's what I have, what I value in life, the resources that I love having around me. And the throat is, of course, the foundation to the head and the face. So Taurus provides the foundations to that identity, which is realized in Aries. Then in Gemini, it's the hands, the arms, and the lungs, which is all about connecting. And it's an air sign, so it's about connecting intellectually. Here in Cancer, it's about connecting emotionally. It rules the stomach and the breasts and the chest, which is what we make contact with when we hug one another. This is the very soft, caring area of the body. We actually touch here to show that, oh, I care, or I feel what you're telling me, or I'm feeling you. So Cancer is about feeling. And if we look at this diagram here, we can see Cancer rules this whole area right here. And the more closed this is, the less we feel. And this is actually about protection. This is that Cancer crab shell where we protect our soft inner sides. But unfortunately, when we're not open here, we can't actually feel fully what's going on around us. So the best protection is actually an open heart, because your heart will tell you 5 steps ahead where that danger is. Yeah, makes me think of how that car almost hit me the other day. So it's our best protection for us to have an open chest, an open heart, because that's how the heart knows who's in resonance with their hearts. And when you're not in resonant with your heart, when you're not vibrating in a heart-centered way, then you're more likely to hurt others. So those who are not connected to their hearts, your heart will tell you that, and it'll protect you that. Awareness, especially heart-centered awareness, is the best protection in the world. It'll show you where people are coming from. So Cancer is about learning how to relax in our own sensitivity and finding that that is the best protection. Cancer is the home, and the chest is the home of the heart, which is what Leo rules. So when we come into Leo, we'll talk about the heart itself, but Cancer is about creating this home for the heart. All right. So a few more things about Cancer so you can understand this archetype. It's the archetype of the mother, the healer, the empress, the homemaker, the caretaker, and the psychic. And I'm very excited to see what tarot cards Aubrey has pulled for us today so that
I
we can
didn't pull
more.
that one, but that's a good one. That's a really good one.
The empress?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is such a deep sign. And so if we come back to, I want to show you this slide one more time. The universe is divided in two: male, female, positive, negative, electric, magnetic, night and day, light and dark. And the year is divided into two halves as well. We have spring and summer, and then we have fall and winter. There are these two forces that Dane Rudyard, an amazing astrologer, I recommend all his books, talked about, that we have the day force and the night force. The day force is seen in these first 6 signs, Aries through Virgo. The day force is a personalizing energy. It's about individuating. It's about separating, making you a separate individual, shining, saying, here I am different from all other people. That's the day force. The day force seeks to separate you and individualize you. The night force is a collectivizing energy. It collects, it draws in and creates societies, it creates wholes, it creates collectives, governments. And so we need both. We have both. Both are essential. We need both. So here's an interesting thing about Cancer. Cancer is the foundation of the night force. What is Cancer? It's the home and the family. The family is the foundation of society. The stronger the family unit, the more prolific, right? The more in love and harmonized the man and woman are to create children. And the more children they have, the more successful the society becomes, right? That's how empires are essentially born, is because people are having children and they're having children in the protection of a home. So they're instilling values and the children grow to have strong self-esteem, which is what Leo's about. Leo's about, I can shine now because in the comfort of my home, I was nurtured. So it's so cool how astrology reveals the blueprint or the pattern of human nature and how it all works. And then empires fall because the family unit crumbles. So the quickest way to take down an empire or a country is to attack the family unit and the family values that nurture the cohesiveness of that family. So Cancer, being the peak of this day force, is in fact the foundation of the night force, which is in the opposite sign. It's Capricorn, which is the organized, all-powerful state. And so it's very interesting when we think about that and about the deeper aspects that astrology has here to teach us. So a quote that I came up with for Cancer, just kind of to give voice to what this energy is about, is there's no point if it doesn't bring us together and make us closer. One thing I've noticed about Cancer people, all water signs have this capacity to be pretty cold and icy to keep you at arm's length. But that's because in the deeper soul within them is this yearning to merge, right? To have no boundaries. That's what the water signs are all about. And so they only want to merge with you if they know that they're going to be safe to do that, typically. Scorpio can be a little bit more risky and edgy with that, but
That's a
Cancer, yeah,
question
go
just
ahead.
to jump in right there. When you were talking about the Capricorn and the structure of society, I was really thinking about the Emperor card, and the Emperor and the Empress obviously go together. Empress is 3, Emperor is 4. And I have friends that either are Cancer Sun or Cancer Moons, and they talk about some of the struggles they have with kind of being a chameleon and kind of becoming like the energy they're around. And the way you're describing this with the water and the form, I'm really understanding that on an even deeper level. So the idea that they do kind of put up the hard walls before they are sure that they can flow into a structure they can trust.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. It's like water has this intuitive, not water itself, but water signs. They have this intuition about, is this going to be a leaky vessel that I get into, or can I trust this person to hold me? Maybe there's even a deeper soul intuition that if I get close to this person by my nature, I'm going to start to merge my energy with them. I'm going to take some parts of them. It's like you can leave anything in a glass of water, a raisin, an acorn, whatever. The water is going to start breaking it down and merging with it. So I think water sign people have this intuition. So it's deceptive how they can be so closed off because really it's a defense mechanism. It's again, it's that hard crab shell. And they they just want to merge. They just want to get closer to a person because it's one of the ways that they get closer to themselves. So understanding that you can maybe be a little less judgmental with these water sign people and just understand that if they're being standoffish, it's in their nature for them to protect themselves because they are some of the most sensitive human beings on the planet. These people are born from June 21st to July 22nd, but it changes year to year because guess what? Your Gregorian calendar is kind of arbitrary. It changes every year. We have leap years, we have different things going on. It's not in tune with the heavenly cycles, okay? But that's the rough estimate. You can roughly guess that the last 8 to 10 days of the month are going to be in the next sign. So that's an easy kind of hack. That's a quick way to do it. The symbol is the crab. The symbol apparently used to be the scarab, which is very interesting. The element is water, like we said. The mode is cardinal because it starts the season of summer. All the signs that start a season are cardinal. Cardinal is centrifugal energy, which is energy that goes outward. It's active energy. So these people are leaders and they're emotional leaders. They're here to take emotional, soulful action, which is really, hey, I love you. Let's start a family. I mean, that's the deepest, that's the highest, the pinnacle of this expression is acting from that place of, hey, I want to merge with you and then contribute to the society through what we produce together as two people. All right. The planet is the moon, which I know it's not a planet, but in astrology, all the heavenly bodies are called planets, the ones that are the wandering stars and the luminary sun and moon. And the moon spends about 2.5 days in each sign. It moves the fastest because it's the closest to Earth. So the moon is constantly changing. Not only is it always changing its sign, but it's changing its phase. This is reflective of the Cancer nature. They're in one mood today, a different mood tomorrow, a different mood in the next hour. They're just changeable by nature, always changing. So they yearn for that security, that solidity, which is really reached in the opposing sign, the polarity Capricorn. That's why Capricorns are some of the most stable people you will ever meet. So the body part, like we said, is the breast, and secondly, the stomach and the womb. And the key expression for Cancer is I feel. It's all about feeling. This is the first water sign to appear. It's about establishing the ability to feel into life and to understand intuitively what we are feeling. I got a nice quote here for you by an amazing book called Psychoanalyzing the 12 Zodiacal Types. This is by Manly P. Hall, a 33rd degree Freemason. He says, psychologically, the Cancer man is super sensitive, shy, reticent, and even negative. This condition is also aggravated by shielding, protecting, and petting in early life, but may be innate where the early life is not so pampered. Much of the vanity, indirectness, glibness, and show off, big front tendencies of the Cancer man can be attributed to this almost abnormal sensitiveness. So, I want to interject here. A Cancer woman can have an easier time with this sign. This is something I've really noticed. I've noticed this about Cancer and Libra, men. Men born under those signs, I'm sorry, you guys, you tend to have a harder time, just from what I've noticed. Because of the sensitive nature of this sign. But it'll get easier, I think, as we learn to integrate our feminine energy, right? Anyways, the crab has a protective shell because he's a very shy creature. The Cancer type makes a bad husband, but a good wife. Assisted by stronger signs and better planetary placements, and strengthened by a strong resolve, a Cancer man can achieve to a high position. But to reach this goal, he must conquer the vacillation and uncertainty in himself. It's unfortunate, but I'm going to just tell it like it is. Cancer men tend to be mama's boys. Sorry, it's just an observation. It's very important for Cancer men to forgive their mother for either not nurturing them enough or nurturing them too much. And the word cancer is a word that we've ascribed to one of the deadliest diseases in the world. Why is that? Well, cancer is a growth, but it's an overgrowth. It's a growth of a mutation. And Cancer is about growing from this place of nurturing, but too much nurturance, not enough encouraging of the innate strength within the human being to find their independence. They start to grow, they start to overgrow in a bad way, right? So I think that's an interesting connection there to draw between the sign called Cancer and the disease by the same name. It's very interesting. Okay, so now let's get into the tarot cards, and then I will break down for you the energy of the different transits that we have taking place, the new moon and then the full moon in the month of July. Sound good?
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Christian. Hi, everyone. I'm Aubrey. If you weren't here in the beginning, I'm an intuitive tarot card reader, and I also practice cartomancy, which is the system of destiny cards or source cards. It's a system of astrology and numerology that's mixed, and it helps reveal some of the karmic timing that we can expect as we go through our lives. So I picked 4 tarot cards for today's Cancer season presentation. The first card, very similar to the Empress, but I pulled the Queen of Cups. And this deck you see here, this is the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck. And I've pulled secondary cards from Chris Ann's tarot deck here, and I'm forgetting the name right now. But I think it's called the Light Seers deck, actually. But Queen of Cups is the first card. Like I said, very similar to the Empress. This is a water on water card. The queens always represent water or the emotional realm, and the cups also represent the water and emotional realm in tarot. So you'll notice that with this Queen of Cups, it's the only queen in the deck, so interesting, that covers her chalice. All the other queens, the chalice is exposed. And with this queen, she's, like I said, double water on water. She protects her cup. This is very Cancer-like. A lot of beautiful, this is also the most ornate cup of all the queens in the traditional deck. And you'll see she knows that she has something very valuable here. By the way she's holding it and doting on it, she knows that her emotion and what she has to offer in that realm is very powerful and special, and she protects it. There's even some barbing on the side to keep out things that don't belong there or might not honor her emotions. This card really represents, and I'll show this version now. This card really represents compassion, intuition, and emotional depth. It really embodies Cancer's nurturing and empathetic qualities. And when I get this card pulled in a reading, it often is encouraging the person I'm reading for to really connect with their inner emotions and their own intuition. And that can go in both directions. Sometimes when this card is pulled, I'll know that someone has maybe been getting too deep in their emotions and they're not having a totally, let's call it objective or logical view. So sometimes things can get over emotional, or there might be a tendency to become emotionally manipulative, whether it's conscious or unconscious. Sometimes that can happen. So really, this card is really asking everyone to reflect on emotional growth and their levels of sensitivity. On the high side, it really celebrates the ability to care for yourself and other people with kindness and understanding. So I worked with someone for a couple years, and I always thought of her when I pulled the Queen of Cups, just such a wonderful manager. And she really was all in. She was always all in with her heart to help everyone. So that was one of the positive sides of having her on the team. So Queen of Cups. The second card, it's the Moon card. We talked about that. So in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith here, we see, we see Scorpio and Cancer. We see the Moon. This really is the subconscious realm. It's very emotional, though, and you can see that very much represented on this card from the Chris Ann deck. We see the light and the dark wolf, the Moon, which always represents the subconscious realm in tarot. And this woman has fallen underneath the water. She's almost tossed underneath the water. And if you can imagine yourself at night, if you had, you're maybe having trouble swimming in the ocean at night and not really knowing which way is up and down, this is really when our emotions can overtake us and we can get into some of the almost overindulgence in emotions that aren't helpful. So the Moon, of course, represents our intuition and dreams in the subconscious. When we think about Cancer, it really reflects the strong intuitive and emotional nature that Cancers and that Cancer season comes with. It encourages us to explore the inner feelings and subconscious desires, but we do want to come up for air and come up for sunlight and not be in this for too long. I would say if you were in this for weeks at a time, that could be overwhelming. And so it is nice to come out into more of that Leo energy, the sun, kind of dry out a little bit and get a little more of the fire or the air going to balance out the water. But it really does, these cards really do capture that mystical and reflective side of Cancer. You never really know what's going on beneath the surface. There's so much happening. And I think the positive sign of this is really embracing the deeper aspects of our psyche and our own emotional landscape. So love this card. I have two more. The next card is the Four of Cups right here. And this is how it's represented in Chris Ann's. And the Four of Cups is definitely a card of contemplation and introspection. It's when we're starting to evaluate things. This card also can be related to a sense of becoming jaded. You become jaded. You have a lot of blessings and a lot of opportunity around. In this card, you'll see this person has three full cups. to choose from, and the hand of God reaches out with another blessing, and they're almost like, whatever. And the same with this woman. She's kind of feeling like, all this, there's a rainbow around her, but she's almost off in her own mind and her own wallowing and doesn't notice it. So this really aligns, I think, with Cancer's tendency to really reflect on emotions and situations. Like I said, I have a few Cancers in my life, and I've noticed that at times they can almost stay in that contemplation phase for too long. And then sometimes the repercussion of that is that they miss the opportunity. They'll come up and go, I've made my decision. And it's like the train has left the station. And so, for myself, especially, I've noticed since Monday, 2 days ago, I have been feeling really heightened emotions. I mean, I know we have some wild astrology that you'll talk about in the next section, Christian, very powerful, very strong. But I even had Monday, the day of my weird car incident. I was crying a lot. Yesterday, I had to get up and I felt like I was in a bad mood when I woke up. I haven't felt that in months. And I thought, okay, just get up and do the things you do. Don't sit and ponder and worry about it. Know that it's a shift in the air. And I got up, I got ready, I fed myself, I started with the day. And even though it wasn't easy, I knew that wallowing in bed all day would just make it feel worse. So I think this card reminds us that it's good to find inner peace and emotional clarity, but we really want to find that balance between self-reflection and then just getting out and taking steps and moving. And the final card, the Chariot card. And you may be thinking, what in the heck does the Chariot card have to do with Cancer? One of the things we haven't necessarily talked about too much, I think, in today's presentation is that Cancer really represents determination, willpower, and triumph. Like, think about a mother. Think about someone who has so much emotion to give. They really are able, oftentimes, to overcome challenges and help stay focused on goals because they are tapping into emotions. So things might come up and they'll go, you know what? I remember why I'm doing this. I know in my heart it's the right thing. And sometimes that really deep felt sense of emotion is just the motivation needed to burst out of something that doesn't feel good or a situation that needs changing. And so this really, I thought, was a good representation of that side of Cancer. Would never want anyone who's a Cancer or who knows someone who has Cancer placements to think it's just a sign of detriment. It does come with a heavier weight sometimes and a lot of emotion, but with practice and discernment and learning yourself more and more, you're able to make it a superpower, I believe. So I think that when you can take control of your emotions, you're able to move forward with confidence in them and know that. And I keep going back to the Cancer people I know. It's like you do want to self-reflect, you do want to consider things from an emotional place, but it's okay to set out in a direction and just say, you know what, I'm going to try this and go forward. And sometimes it won't be perfect. Sometimes it's not exactly the totally right answer, but just like water in life, we can flow into a new direction. So I think this water sign can come to realize like you can flow into a container, and if the container isn't big enough or it's not the right shape or it doesn't feel good, you find another container to flow into. And so I thought this card was really great just to kind of celebrate the strength and resilience that Cancers use to really find that balance in their life and find the right container to pour themselves into. Yeah. So those are my 4 cards: Queen of Cups, the Moon, 4 of Cups, and Chariot. And I thought the Empress was perfect. I can't believe I didn't think of that one right away, but Queen of Cups was there in my mind. And I loved, like I said earlier, I really did love the Cancer, Capricorn, Emperor, Empress. It really does help me kind of vision the two and see, especially Capricorn. I have a lot of Capricorns in my life as well, in my family. And people I've been in relationships with, and sometimes that structure gets to be too rigid. It's like, hey, let's get a little emotion in there and loosen it up. So this merging together of the two signs was a cool thing you did earlier. So thank you, Christian.
Yeah, thank you. That was amazing. And I love how you brought up the that aspect of Cancer that is very, very strong. Um, and tenacious is a word for Cancer because it's like when the crab locks onto something with its claws, it's not going to let go. So there is actually a bulldog bite to the sign Cancer, which is surprising when people just think, oh, it's just moody and it's just the moon and just water. But there is
Mm.
a ferocity to all the water signs, even Scorpio. It's got that sting. But yeah,
Those little hooks on the cup, the protective element of the crab outside the water. Like
yeah, those look like
mess with
crab
it.
claws too.
Oh, they do. It's very interesting. They're actually, it looks like little, oh gosh, I can't think of the bird right now. I'll think of it later, but it's a little, it's I think it's a little, a big, a big little bird.
Yeah, and I mean, I've talked to women, and it's the mothers who tend to have this thing in them where they will kill somebody. They're willing to commit murder, and it's because of this mama bear quality in them. So, um, definitely, don't let the sensitivity of this sign fool you that there isn't a strong side to it, because there is. So the instincts are very strong with Cancer. It is about really the foundations of our psyche, which, are it's this protective element to do whatever we have to do to protect what's important to us and what's meaningful to us. So,
It's also, you said water has memory.
mhm,
Cancers have a long and deep memory. So I feel cancers, it's one of those signs where, well, there's two ends of the spectrum. There's a cancer that over forgives and just allows and allows, and then their water gets very murky and confused. Or there's the cancer where you don't get two chances with them. Most
right.
people, it seems like, at least in our society, we say you get two chances. You mess up once, I understand. You mess up the second time, you're out. Cancer is almost like mess up once and you could be out forever. They could just close up and you're out forever. So
Yeah. Yeah,
very
that's
similar.
true.
Mhm,
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And it really does depend on other placements in their chart, but that really is true. It
mhm.
will shut you out if you hurt them. So amazing. So let's talk about this month and the transits, and feel free to jump in at any time, Aubrey, if you have something you want to share. So, what you need to know about July, this is a good time to take notes if you've got your calendar in front of you and you want to mark off certain days, um, because this is what's on the way. Um, so, the main thing is early in July on the 5th, which is Friday, we have a new moon. And this new moon is really important for getting started on a good foot. Like I said, Cancer is the foundations of our psyche. It's our instincts. And when you follow those instincts, those support you in business, those support you in creating good relationships. So a Cancer new moon, when the sun and moon are together in Cancer, is a really intuitive moment. And you could really come into some deep insight about something in your life. So you want to look at your chart and find out where this new moon is happening and look at what house it's in. But another thing you can do for some really good insight is count from your sign to the sign Cancer. So it might help if you look at a wheel. But if you're in Aries, then you go, okay, Aries is 1, Taurus is 2, Gemini is 3, Cancer is 4. So 4, you're going to need a cheat sheet for this if you're not well versed in astrology, but for 4 is the it actually relates to the fourth sign Cancer. So it is about a new beginning in your home or in the foundations of your life or in changing dynamics uh, in your house or with your family or whatever you continually routinely return to at night. So this Cancer new moon is it's got Venus in Cancer as well. Um, it's got the ruler, I mean, so it's so powerful because the ruler of the sign is the moon. And there's the moon right there with the sun at the 14th degree on July 5th. Mercury has made its way into Leo. So Mercury is ahead, pushing ahead. It's going to go retrograde in Virgo later on. But there's this curiosity that we can really pioneer with. So I think Mercury that's made it into Leo uh, by this new moon is really helping us creatively see how we can be brave about creating certain changes in our life. So for this new moon, it's an opportunity to recharge yourself and to find out what are your leaks in your energy, where those leaks are, and to plug those up. Um, and I'll give you some important questions to ask and to journal on July 5th so that you can really use this energy. Um, So good question is, where do I feel the emptiest right now? Where am I hungry? Where am I lacking? Where do I not feel fed? Cancer is really good about tuning into that. After being honest with myself and having located where and how I feel empty, can I relax in this sense of emptiness? A new moon means there's the darkest material light. It's the darkest in our physical world. And so this darkness allows for insight, for vision within, sight within, because the more the outer light waxes, when we have full moons, we have a lot of craziness. Our thoughts get louder, people are more impulsive, crime rates go up. But a new moon is a time for you to settle down and go within and relax. So if you're hungry in a certain area, try and relax with that hunger. Such spiritual growth and insight comes from fasting, you know? You know that, right? Like fasting is the most transformative thing you can do. So kind of fast. If you gain insight, I'm really hungry here. I'm really lacking in this area. I really want love here. I want sustenance here. I want connection here. Can you relax in that sense of emptiness? Because it's from your emptiness that your fullness will come. It's from the unknown that your certainty will arise. Okay. So ask yourself if you can relax in it on that new moon. What insights are being revealed about myself in the expanse of this deep emptiness? In what areas of life am I being inauthentic? How does my living space reflect my inner self, my room, my bed? What deep needs of mine are not being met? How can I show initiative to meet these needs myself? What is causing tension in my life that I can release? What would it feel like to let go completely and be inwardly free from this tension? Just imagine what it would feel like. Use this Cancerian imaginative energy. Can I accept the fact that I am at home within my body? What beliefs of mine prevent me from finding comfort in myself? What do I believe I need to do, have, or become before I'm allowed to relax? What beliefs do I need to release so I can love myself unconditionally and give myself permission to relax fully now? One of the Neville Goddard quotes, which we talk about every Wednesday in our manifestation classes, is he has this quote where it's like, to the degree that you can relax inwardly, to that degree will the thing that you desire to manifest come to you in speed and efficiency. So, like, what if we really knew that? What if we prioritized our own inner relaxation in the same way we prioritize getting money or figuring out what to eat or figuring out who to mate with? What if we really prioritized just relaxing as deep as we can in this life, trusting that what's meant for us is going to come to us? Because the way manifestation works is we align with who we really are and we show up as that self in full worthiness, no compromising, no shame. That opens all the channels to the things that are meant for us. And that's the life that feels the best. So ask yourself, can I see how relaxation is in alignment with the manifestation of my ideal state and with my wish fulfilled? And thus, how important is it that I align with it now? Ask yourself, how important is it to me that I relax? So that's the new moon. I really hope those inquiries, that you can ask yourself and ask your soul are helpful, because your soul will give you an answer on that new moon. There's no full moon in Cancer this year. We get two full moons in Capricorn. The first was on June 21st. The next one's July 21st. No full moon in Cancer this year. So it's not the most comfortable year. And to me, it's a sign to get down to business with things that matter. And I think this new moon in Cancer is an opportunity to find out what really matters to me, you know? So then the days go on, and then that moon comes into Leo, very positive, and then but before the moon comes into Leo, it's going to meet with Venus. So I think you're really going to break through to a new level of self-love and being able to connect with what matters. July 8th is a big day. It's an 8 day, so that's powerful numerologically, but Venus will be sextile Uranus, and then Mercury will be sextile Jupiter, both on that day. So you can really explore different changes that you want to make on that date, July 8th, Monday. It's a good day to release a product, a discount, a project, anything that you can prosper from by putting it out on that day. I would look at that day and see what change or what courageous sort of expression or exteriorization of something that you want to give to the world, do it on that day. All right. Um, a few days later, July 10th, we have a nice aspect. The sun in Cancer is going to be in harmony. It's going to form a trine with Saturn in Pisces. And so with the sun trine Saturn, you can work to put yourself in a really good space emotionally on that day. You can collect your energies. You can find a focus on what needs to be done to foster more of a harmonious flow of energy in your personal life and just get down to business with it. Sun and Saturn are seeing eye to eye this month, which is always positive for making the form of your life be in accordance with the actual life. So, like, here's my form, and then the life is flowing through the form. And so, when I get in alignment, like with, the right posture, and when I'm smiling, and you know, when I'm connected with my heart, the form and the life are in agreement, and that feels amazing. So the 10th is where you can be sharply tuned into what needs to be done to create more alignment, more integrity, more self-respect, and achieving this is going to be easy to do on that day. Okay? Let's get into the second set of 10 days. How are we doing? Doing good?
Doing great.
Okay, cool. July 11th, that's a very intuitive day. Venus in Cancer is now working with Neptune in Pisces, forming a trine. One of the last, probably actually the last Venus in Cancer trine to Neptune in Pisces in our lifetime, because Neptune is getting ready to go into Aries once
What
and
day did
for
you
all.
say that's happening? July 11th?
Yeah, July 11th. We have a very dreamy aspect, Venus trine Neptune, just before Venus enters Leo on that same day. That's a Thursday, July 11th. This is dreamy, flirtatious, let me just fall in love, fall into your arms kind of energy. So there's big potential for loving connections on that 11th. 11 is a very potently emotional number. They say that life path 11s are some of the most sensitive, emotional people on Earth, which is interesting. When you know,
See, life path 11.
are you an 11?
I'm an 11 too. Yep.
What?
Yeah, I'm an
Huh.
11 too.
Well, oh my gosh, I'm trying to collect you. I'm trying to like hang out with as many 11s as I can. There's another Aquarius who's in a life path 11. She's normally here, but
Mhm.
awesome. Yeah, even just by associating with you guys, my life is gonna get better. So you guys have really strong energy. Um, so then Venus enters Leo. So after July 11th, I keep saying June. After July 11th, we step into some really playful, flirtatious energy, and Venus will be in Leo until August 4th. And this promotes our hearts to open more fully. So making romantic connections is going to be easier, more liable to occur. And it's going to be the time to enjoy fun times with others and reconnect with your hobbies. Reprioritize having fun because this will lead to spiritual growth. It's not just going to be, oh, life is more enjoyable. It's going to be, I'm able to connect from a more authentic place to my life. So connecting with others is important, but especially connecting with doing things that bring you joy, especially while the sun is still in Cancer. So think about that. All right. However, Venus does rule relationships and Leo is about pride. It's about the ego. So you might want to resolve to work through any tendencies in yourself where you become dominating, and that's usually out of like fear when we do that. And egocentrism, it's all out of fear. The ego is all about fear. And there's only two main energies in life, love and fear, and they can't exist in the same moment. So just try and lean into love and trust, especially when you notice fear come up and you're doing the work of the soul and keep going. You're doing great. There's great freedom to be experienced and allowing your heart to fly free and be seen, and it is scary to do that at first, but when you lean with love, the love overtakes that fear. All right. Then that next Friday, July 12th, Venus is going to be opposing Pluto. Oppositions to Pluto are always interesting because with any other planet, when they're opposed, they're like, "Hey, I see you over there. What's your story?" And it's always opposite to the other one. So it's like a totally different, it's like heads and tails. It's like, oh, okay, you got the heads. That's interesting. I got the tails. And they can complement each other. But when planets are opposite Pluto, I don't see that as a normal, usual opposition because Pluto is like, how do you relate to that? So Venus and Leo is like, I'm ready to have more fun. I'm ready to flirt more. I'm ready to connect more with how awesome I am, right? And how awesome other people are. But opposite Pluto, Pluto's the lord of the underworld and it's Hades. And so Venus is like, I want to have fun, but this guy is staring at me and it's making me really question if I can even have fun. So I think this transit is excellent for focusing on different ways that you can transform and empower yourself by really identifying fear, where you're afraid to open up, where you're afraid to have fun, and to grow beyond certain insecurities or dependencies or things where you lack confidence. So just know that this is intense and we're not going to be able to fully access this is going to put a bad taste in our Leo mouths for the whole Leo season if we don't really address whatever comes up during this time, which really happens around July 12th. All right. So we're already past the Mercury opposite Pluto. So our minds have had to kind of tango with this Pluto. But now it's going to be Venus on July 12th. So
Kind of
yeah,
see that, Christian, as like, because you're saying July 11th, and I can see with the Neptune and the Pisces, and uh, I do see like that dreaminess. And right when you were saying it, I marked my calendar like, oh, this could be a good day for a date. But July 12th, it almost is there almost like a crash landing from that July 11th? Is that kind of what's happening, or am I misreading what you're saying?
it could be a crash landing. It could be like, you go on a date and then that on the 11th and then the very next day, well, the 12th is a Friday, so you could go on a date that day too. Let's say it's the next day, then you're texting and they say something weird or dark, and then you start to question the connection. Um,
That's kind of what I'm thinking is like it could be just like, and then you're wondering, was I just in a like a fever dream? Like what happened?
yeah, yeah. Um,
Maybe just not taking, maybe really feeling and being in the moment in July 11th. And if something weird comes up on the 12th, trying to just give a little space to breathe. Maybe it's a weird interference coming in.
Exactly. Give it space, give it time, and see what your own discomforts are, because it could just be a weird spike in the energy. But the thing with Venus opposite Pluto, especially on in the Leo Aquarius axis, is I think we want to be careful about how we're being insensitive to other people's egos. I think this is something that's not talked about a lot, but when you help others save face, you like that's a really good way to extend grace to other people is like, yes, this ego can really hold us back, but an ego is an essential part of our psyche. We need an ego. We just need to not be ruled by it. We need to learn how to laugh at our own ego. But people when we're not able to, so Venus opposite Pluto can be a time where we help guide each other into how to laugh at our egos. But be respectful of other people's egos and their insecurities and their sensitivities, because it can just be a really touchy time. There's a lot of different ways that this could manifest or show up, but if you're focused on positive transformation and loving from the heart and being non-judgmental, it's going to go good. It's going to go well for you, and it will lead to more empowerment, I think. Another thing is try to relate with any inner child wounds that you might see arise within you and try to heal and relate well with that inner child. All right. So, as the month goes on, the next big transit is not until the 15th. We have Mars and Uranus conjunct. This is earthquake energy. This is very destabilizing. But wherever this conjunction occurs in your chart, you can really redefine yourself in this area. So, this just signals the height of a transit that's very unstable, but potentially renewing and re-empowering. So see how you can redefine yourself during this time. This is like a reinvention of your identity or of your values. And if you're very crystal clear with yourself about what you value, then you can use this really well and probably find a new approach to how it is you want to get the things in life that you want to have. Um, so I see this as a big upgrade to our value, but this does signal issues in our economies, and things like that, just like money being spent in ways that are reckless, um, issues with banks, things like that. So be careful with this. I'm going to use this in my 11th to, redefine how I show up in my social circles, be more empowered around who I hang out with and who I don't hang out with. And that's already been something that I've been preparing for and really working on. So find out where it is in your chart and just be empowered and redefine yourself.
Isn't
Um,
it so interesting, Christian, how this theme is just so common right now? People really considering, who do I spend my time with? Who am I
yeah.
following or absorbing information from on social media? People are becoming very, very discerning with who they choose to spend their time with at a level that I've personally never done. I've never seen the people around me doing as much. And it's so interesting to hear you saying this and hearing that there's, when you said the Mars and Uranus, that was where I went, was like friend group and like activating through it quickly and like removing the chafe, like being really clear in like the I am. And if you're clear in I am, you know who you will and will not associate with, and not in a harsh way, but sometimes it has to be harsh, but we don't, we can be graceful about things. I think it's just so interesting as we're kind of in this final waffling between Pluto and Capricorn and Pluto and Aquarius. We kind of really seal it in towards the end of the year after our dip back into Pluto and Capricorn. It's
Mhm.
very interesting that I think in Capricorn, it was really favored or just natural for us to associate with whoever could help us get the job done. You work with whoever's going to get the job done. You're friends with whoever is going to help you achieve what you need to achieve. You stay in family units because it makes sense and it's logical. And as we go into Pluto and Aquarius and this idea of community being so important and aligning with the communities that we feel uh, really called to, it's interesting that we're given these transits to help nurture that refinement as we get closer and closer to sealing into the first true like solid stages, Pluto and Aquarius. And it's just so interesting, I think. When you talk about these transits, I'm just thinking in my mind, like, wow, we do get more and more opportunities to continue being more clear on who we spend our time with and who we choose to invest in. Just so different from the past, whatever it was, 16, 18 years, 16 years, 18 years in Pluto and Capricorn.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. It is due to that Pluto and Aquarius. Aquarius rules our connections. And yeah, Pluto and Capricorn's like, I will just connect with whoever will help me get the job done. Um, but
Kind of that cold,
Aquarius,
like whatever, let's just get it done. And now Aquarius, it's like, where do I feel good? Where am I motivated to help support the group? How can I contribute to the group? Am I contributing to this group or am I kind of a hanger on? Or do I have hanger ons in my group that are just kind of using me and taking from me? Like, where are we all contributing equally in a group, in a flow, in a circle? It's not structured, it's circular and round and malleable.
yeah. Yeah, there is a social element with Aquarius that Capricorn really doesn't care about. Capricorns will work themselves to death. They will develop ulcers in their stomach and they will just power through because they're goal focused. But Aquarius is more about the psychological health of the community. And Aquarius is aware of who it's connecting with and why. So Pluto and Aquarius is really going to be us transforming about it's us integrating with this situation that we have with social media and with content that is short form and this loss of our ability to concentrate and work and Pluto's going to help us go, okay, I do actually need to be able to concentrate and focus and find out what's getting in the way here. And then Uranus in Taurus is this upgrade to our value because Uranus rules Aquarius. But traditionally Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, which is in Pisces. So there's this big spiritually grounding element where we are being forced to ask our soul if our soul is okay and where we're lacking discipline emotionally, where we're having these energetic leaks and stuff. So, plus throw in the fact that the South Node's in Libra, and it's like, okay, I'm ready to release these connections to things that are not good for me. And so, and you should be doing that. And you should be doing it from an empowered North Node and Aries place of, I'm the leader of my life and what I do, like I set the tone for my life. My rule is like, I'm the leader here. So I got to do what's good for me. And I got to expect people to follow that. And they will, you know, people really do obey your boundaries. When you lay down the law of your life, people adhere to that. They have to.
They
They,
disappear and then it's handled.
yeah, yeah,
They obey or they disappear, and either way, your boundaries are upheld.
yeah, yeah, totally. I mean, people respond to you the way that you energetically um coax them to. And because communication is like 90% nonverbal. So North Node and Aries is about taking responsibility for the energy that you are putting out there. And when you're getting certain reactions from people, always bring it back to you. Like, okay, I wonder how I sub communicated that that was okay to treat me that way. And that's a place of responsibility, and because regardless of what the facts are, at least if you go to that place psychically, you are empowering yourself instead of just being like South Node and Libra, like, you're disrespecting me. Yeah, I need respect. It's like, well, if you're not getting respect, what are you doing that's causing this to happen? And then you might not be doing anything that's causing it to happen. It just might be you're surrounded by disrespectful people, and that's fine. But just asking the question of what am I doing that's creating this experience will lead you to be more empowered. So it's better to just ask that question. All right. So the month goes on. Mid-July, we have a first quarter moon in Libra. Oh, that was a few days earlier. Pardon me. So after that conjunction on the 15th, um, moon's in Scorpio, and then it comes into Sagittarius. So 16th and 17th has some good uplifting energy, especially with the moon opposite Jupiter. Be courageous, but be balanced. Um, then on the 18th, the sun in Cancer is going to create a sextile with Uranus. This is really good for making good changes in your life. Excellent for renewing your emotional state. Any stagnant emotions can really get cycled out on that day if you'll be willing to find self-reliance and trust in yourself, and an unconventional approach to making these changes in your life. You can really, with that sun in Cancer, trust yourself, feel good about it, and then work with that Uranus energy to listen to your intuition to find ways to make effective changes in your lifestyle and your habits or whatever it is. Um, then then we've got on the 20th, Mars works with Neptune, and then in a sextile, which is nice. You can feel re-energized or empowered from sources that feel small or meek or weak, whether it's a person or a message or whatever. I would really keep your mind open on the 20th to receiving help or advice from an unsuspected source. It could be you talk to a child and their just innocence just causes you to see life in a new way, or to find confidence in yourself, and to put your best foot forward. So stay open on the 20th, but then on the 20th also, Mars enters Gemini, which is all about the pen is mightier than the sword. This is the warrior of communication when Mars is in Gemini, where he will be until September 4th. We want to use this energy carefully. Gemini rules all motor skills and activity. So don't run with scissors when Mars is in Gemini. Don't speed in your car. It's an amazing period of time where there's more energy in our minds and more energy in our words and how we're communicating. And we can really feel that urge to connect, converse, and converge our energy with other people because Gemini is about connection intellectually. So lots of ideas can begin to circulate. And it wouldn't hurt to carry around a notepad and a pen during that whole transit for these new ideas that come to you quickly and suddenly, threatening to leave as quickly as they come. So the desire to fight, though, does go up during this transit, especially verbal fights, but we know how quick verbal fights can lead to physical fights. So there's going to be more debates, more arguments, all this thing. But if you want to reduce the chance of violence, then receive this word of warning from me, which is don't argue. It's a code of mine, a code of conduct in my life where I do not argue. I'll debate. I love debating as long as the other person understands the rules of debate, which there's specific rules to debating. It's like if you spar. If I tap out, the fight's over. Do not break my arm. That's what a spar is. A spar is not a fight. A debate is not a fight. As soon as I use a logical fallacy, you got me. I got to tap out. You won. You won the debate. You actually won the argument, but it's not an argument, it's a debate. Argument is I'm right, you're wrong. No, you're wrong, I'm right. And it's two devils fighting. It's two egos bashing their heads against each other. You're just going to crack one of your heads open. There's not going to be any conflict resolution. There's no resolution of there's no insight. There's no, oh, okay, we arrived at truth. But a debate is a spar which where you arrive at truth. Who has the best argument? Who has the best fighting style, like in a spar? But with a debate, it's not about who's a better fighter, it's about who has the truth. And then you should be happy to find out if it's not you. You should actually be really grateful for that. So don't argue. That's not how we convince anyone of anything. And you're just wasting your breath. Arguing is not an effective way to influence others or change their minds. And it rarely, if ever, has a beneficial effect on our relationships. Ever since I forgave my mother and father because I saw I was judging and I was wrong for that, and I apologized for judging them, I forgave them. I have not had one single argument in my life since that day because that anger is not in me anymore. As soon as somebody argues, I just go, okay. And I just, okay, you hang on to whatever you think. I don't care, you know? So I do recommend that with Mars and Gemini, we move forward with our ideas though. So find your confidence and your strength to speak your mind and to tell it like it is. Just try and see the detrimental effect that arguing has. Um, And don't get locked into ego battles where the goal is to appear smart or superior or more right than the other person, because that is a real flaw with Mars and Gemini. That's a real likely chance that we have with this transit. Um, and as long as we don't fall into that trap, then we can really advance our knowledge, energize our connections, and improve our understanding and even our confidence in one another. You know, there's an interesting concept, which is that self-confidence does not exist. There's just confidence. And the confidence that I have in you it feeds back to me. And when I walk into a room, I'm keeping my eyes open and I'm making eye contact because I have confidence in other people that they are looking beautiful today or that they, I don't know, and when you inspire confidence in others, they get more confident. And then the more confident they become, the more confident you become. So Mars and Gemini is really good for kind of blurring these lines of self and other and just creating more energy between us, if that makes any sense. As long as we're not wasting our energy trying to prove others wrong, we're going to get a lot of this out of this transit. Okay. Then the next day, right after that, on the 21st, we have our full moon in Capricorn. So this full moon in Capricorn is conjunct Pluto. It's just 1 degree away from Pluto, which is at 0 degrees Aquarius. So this one is way more intense than the first. There's a ton of aspects occurring on this very same day, and I'll break them down, but just so you know what they are, it's Venus in Leo, sextile Jupiter and Gemini. So Venus and Jupiter are working together. Very uplifting, powerful, inflated energy socially. Mercury in Leo, squaring Uranus and Taurus. So there's some tension here about these intuitive changes that we need to make or adjustments in how we're communicating things. Sun in Cancer is trine Neptune in Pisces. So this is very imaginative, crazy energy because it's at the last degree of Cancer, the last degree of Pisces. This is like you could get totally lost at sea. You know, I actually had a dream last night that I was a diver under the ocean. I was having to dive under the ocean. And when I woke up this morning, I was like, "Oh, I know what that symbolizes." It's very interesting. Careful not to drown, on that full moon. Oh gosh, because full moons are already crazy, but with the sun trying Neptune at the last degrees, we could really get drowned by our own delusions or our own moods about things. And then we have Mars. I'm not done. We have Mars in Gemini, trining Pluto in Aquarius. Oh my gosh, which is sharp, cutting, biting remarks, us saying things that really cut to the bone and rupture our relationships permanently. So on that full moon in Capricorn on the 21st, I highly recommend that we take it easy. Um, I almost want to recommend that you lock yourself in a room. No, but that you at least like do take time for yourself where you can reflect and meditate and just make sure you walk away if any of this Mars and Gemini fights start to break out. Um,
What I'm getting, Christian, just this whole time you've been talking, I've really been feeling like the astrology is so intense. It's so loaded. And I just keep getting this thought of like mothering the self. Like, I feel like as we go to, like we
mhm.
talked about just a moment ago, the transition from Pluto and Capricorn finally being really all the way done by the end of the year, we move into Pluto and Aquarius and we get two full moons in Capricorn. It's on such a punctuated day that I feel like all year we've been guided to sort of all of us emotionally mature, regardless of our age or where we are in life, and start mothering ourselves. The boundaries of Capricorn father are gone. We don't have daddy, Emperor Capricorn to tell us what to do anymore. And it's almost like God, the universe, the planets have been preparing us. We've been in a boot camp. We've been in it for many years, but it's really been intensifying with the transits, the planetary transits. And this month we're getting hit with these huge moments of opportunity where can you control your mind? Can you watch the words you're saying? Just like a mother would mother a child, like, hey, we don't speak like that. We don't hit people, but you're doing that for yourself. And you're also, who do you hang out with? Where are you applying your energies? How do you nurture yourself? Is your home, is your community set up to nurture you? It's like God is almost running us through the pop quiz, pop quiz, pop quiz. And the full moon's always about releasing. And we get two full moons to release the age of Capricorn twice
Yeah.
in the part of the year. It's like the heat is on. What do you really need to let go of from the last 16 years? And it's like, you do it. Come on, I'm giving you every chance. Let it go. Nurture yourself while you're doing it. And then, we're in Pluto and Aquarius for a little bit more. And then boom, what is it, October, November, Pluto and Capricorn comes in one last swoop. That's going to be the final culling. And it's almost like you can make that final culling so much easier for yourself if you just let it go in this kind of pop quiz, test quiz, quiz before the final exam that your professor says, hey, we'll do a practice test before. And I
Hmm.
really feel that it's happening this month. That's all I'm getting over and over is like, are we taking responsibility for being the parent to ourselves?
Yeah.
Uh, it's really what I'm getting loud and clear.
That's super relevant. That's totally the key, I think. Absolutely. That's why I really focused on that new moon in Cancer, because that's going to be the day to find out where your cup isn't able to get full and how to fill up your cup. Yeah, absolutely. Because people are going to say things this month that really hurt. And if it hurts, I always say, be grateful that there's a trigger there because it shows a corresponding belief that the person is, you know, triggering. It only hurts if somebody calls you stupid, it only hurts if you have a belief that you're stupid. If you know you're not stupid, then you just look at that person like they're funny. And you don't take it personally. And you just go, you're goofy. I'm not stupid. You're probably projecting. You play with it, you have fun with it. But so be great, really go within on that new moon so that you're prepared for this because yeah, like I know how to be a mother to myself. I know what to do to myself where I can feel good again, where I can feel healed up. Like, we do have to take care of ourselves today on a level where we've never done it before. Because this full moon on the 21st does speak very deeply of an ending. It's at the 29th degree of Capricorn, which is where Pluto will come back to for the last time in these fall months during this election season in America. And so this full moon is indicating something is ending, really. Something's really fully ending right here. And Pluto is going to visit that spot. I think that there's going to be old structures that crumble once and for all in the way that government, is managed. But in our own personal lives, this is the crumbling of some sort of structure that you've set up to protect yourself, especially socially, um, in your interpersonal relationships, where you're blocking your authentic self for coming through because you're afraid of that being hurt. And you can find your strength and your power through this, I think. So that second full moon in Capricorn, it's a pinnacle, this is the sign of pinnacle coordinated effort. And it's getting very destabilized. So where you're holding up something to protect yourself, some kind of wall or protective thing, it might be time to let that go, and to find your power in just exposing how you really feel and who you truly are. So those current transits, I think it means that relationship energy can be very uplifting and supportive. Thank God that Venus and Jupiter are actually working together on that day, but that you must reach deep in your own heart to look within first to find the love that you seek. Because otherwise it's going to be like, you're not giving me the love that I want, and it's like, but maybe you could tap into that within you. Mercury square Uranus shows we're reaching a breaking point with certain ideas or attitudes, and it's time to change our mental state and lean into a new way of thinking about things. Sun trine Neptune indicates creativity is high and the veil to the world beyond is thin. So you can really use this energy to achieve psychic revelations about the truth of what you want, what your destiny is, and how to reach a new level of inspiration. And then finally, Mars trine Neptune means there's vital mental energy available to really pierce through some sort of block or barrier in your beliefs or whatever, and to commit yourself to a certain direction or path of action. And that powerful moves can be made to create a positive change and a transformation. All you have to do is see where to focus your energy, commit yourself, and follow through. And I think this full moon is going to be really positive and fill you with determination to commit to that path, to that path of change. So we're almost done here. The very next day, July 22nd, Sun comes into Leo. So the Sun is finally in its domain, in its favorite place to be in the heavens. And as the Sun pounces into Leo, the royal sign, this is really going to help you with self-awareness. That's the ultimate lesson of Leo, is self-awareness. And the next 30 days are wonderful for spending time in spontaneous self-expression, dancing, singing, joking, laughing, all these fun things. Social activities that are fun and playful, going on dates, having romantic adventures, engaging in any activity that helps you open the heart is called for after that very serious full moon. So bask in the warmth and open your heart and reconnect to your hobbies, your childlike sense of wonder, all this fun stuff. Okay. And then the next day, the Sun is opposite Pluto. So we have a Sun-Pluto opposition. I think that fights can really break out under this transit. So try to take a step back and see the bigger picture. Because not only can gaining a wider perspective be transformative under this transit, but it'll help you transmute any tense energies of frustration or anger within you. The moon then comes into Pisces that day. So see what you can clear out and release and forgive and let go. All right. So then July 25th, skip ahead a few days, Mercury enters Virgo. Mercury is really slowing down at this point. I should mention that Mercury comes into its pre-shadow phase in Leo. So during, that all those days during the full moon on the 21st, the whole week around that can be really intense. And yeah, we just really got to be careful about what we say. Communication can be very iffy. So the 25th, Mercury enters Leo, and this sharpens our vision a little more, makes us a bit more critical. We start to see where there's inconsistencies or weaknesses or inefficiencies. But on the 25th, the sun is sextile Mars. So sun in Leo's working happily with Mars in Gemini. And so energy is high as we round out this month. It's high, it's volatile. You should focus on what you're most enthusiastic about. See if you can make some progress in that area. Um, Take the lead, find your authority, just really capitalize on this super high energy. And try to believe in yourself. You can, I think, permanently upgrade your belief in yourself after this full moon. All right. Um, and then on the 27th, we have the last quarter moon in Taurus. This is about steadily clearing things out. Um, it can be helpful for you to slow down by this time, get grounded, and get down to business about what you need to finish or get rid of. So keep that in mind because this high energy is going to give you a lot of momentum and you're not going to want to slow down, but there might be a need to slow down just a bit and approach the clearing or cleaning of old energy with steadiness and self-worth and a methodical thoroughness. And then that's just about it. I mean, those are all the biggest transits for the whole month. So yeah, we did it. That's it.
Thank
Super
you,
fun month.
Kristen. So amazing. Always so much information packed in. I'm always blown away by your vast knowledge of all of this stuff and the way you just take it in and absorb it and then are able to share it so that it lands. At least for me, it really lands. I have my
Thank
calendar
you.
marked. I was making notes. Watch out for
Awesome. Heck
dream.
yeah. Yeah, so we could do our Q&A now, but I do want to say if you guys want to get a reading with Aubrey, she's amazing with the cards. Where can they go to get that?
On Instagram, I'll just drop it in the chat. I'm at Moksha Destiny. And then from there, you can check the link in my bio and it goes to my website. I do the tarot, intuitive tarot. That's where I'm able to kind of tap into your team and pull through messages, signs, symbols that are for the next best steps on your highest and most aligned path. And I also do destiny card sessions, which, like I spoke about earlier, is based in astrology and numerology. It's a 20,000-year-old system, and you can get the karmic timing of your life. So a lot of people will do those readings right around their birthday to understand what they have coming up for the next 12 months in their life, the energies they might expect to be flowing through. And we're able to do that in 52-day time periods based on the 7 visible planets in the sky and some of the karmic timing that we know that comes along with certain birthdays. So, yeah.
Awesome. So it's mokshadestiny.com. That's also where they can go.
Yeah, mokshadestiny.com or at mokshadestiny on Instagram. And there's links to my podcast, the shows I do here with Christian. And I actually have I have a couple free tarot classes. I have one available on my website now about the kings and queens of the tarot. And we get into the divine masculine and feminine energies for the 8 cards that represent the highest, the kings and queen cards and the court cards in tarot. It's really interesting because you can start to learn more about the archetypes and some of the personalities that come along with those cards. We talked about the Queen of Cups today, the water on water energy. And it's just, I think it's very helpful for people to tap into some of the understandings of those cards. And actually, I was planning to release tomorrow my new free Nancy Drew How to Run Your Own Tarot, how to run your own tarot readings. I have a class I'm going to be sharing for free. I was going to release it tomorrow, but based on what you said, I think I'll release it on July 8th.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's like a 45-minute, it's a free class. And I just talk about, I have so many people ask, how can I do my own tarot readings if you don't want to have to come to someone, right? If you want to do them on your own. So I have a whole class teaching you how you can do your own tarot readings and how to tap into your own spirit team and how to call in that wisdom and that knowledge. So that,
I uh, I want to join that.
yeah, cool. Yeah. I'll release it on Monday and then you can do that for free. So that's available on
Great.
the website as well.
Cool. Well, we'll end the recording here so that people feel relaxed and at ease and during the Q&A. Um, so if you want to get a birth chart reading with me, you can go to my website, christianklausner.com. Hopefully my website's up and running. I'm still redoing the whole thing, making it all beautiful and sexy. But you can try to go there, or you can find me on Instagram, at Christian Klausner, and book with me, book a reading, get some coaching. I will help you out. Thank you guys so much. This is the end of the video. The links are in the bio as well for Aubrey and my resources. We love you. We will see you next month for August of 2024. Bye-bye.
Bye.